Namaste, welcome to New India Junction. I am Nivedita Tiwari. The Return of Lord Ram. To fight for the truth is one of the greatest virtues of Lord Ram. With the same patience and courage, his devotees all across the globe fought for justice to see his return to Ayodhya. But the wait was a long one, not of a day, a month, a year, or a century, but of 500 long years. This is a story of struggles and sacrifices. This is a story of devotion, undeterred by all odds. So let's turn back the pages of history to revisit the 500 years of struggle to bring Lord Ram back to his Ayodhya. Ayodhya, the revered land with integral connections to the other Indic religions. Gautam Buddha's presence is indicated in the Fena Sutta and the Darukhanda Sutta. 5 Jain Tirthankars, Rishabhanath, Ajitanath, Abhinandananath, Sumatinath and Anantanath were born in Ayodhya. Guru Nanak Dev is said to have visited Ayodhya and paid his respects at the Janmabhoomi site between the years 1510 and 1511 AD. A land so pious, so revered, met an unfortunate fate at the hands of the invaders. In the year 1528, Mir Baqi, on the orders of the Mughal Emperor Babur, demolished the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya in order to build a mosque. With this act, the invader intended to subjugate and demoralize the natives. However, nothing could deter the devotion to their Lord Ram. The natives continued to worship at the site. During the 17th and the 18th centuries, foreign visitors noticed the absence of Muslims offering namaz and an active presence of the Hindus on the temple site. They documented their viewpoint as indicative of what Ayodhya meant to the Hindus and that the site was symbolic of their belief and their pride. A clash for the site happened for the first time in the mid-19th century in the year 1855 at the Hanumangadi temple, a short distance away from the Ram Janmabhoomi. For the first time, the matter was formally taken to the court by Muhammad Asghar in 1882, claiming rent for the use of Chabutara constructed inside the complex, which was constructed along with the railing during the British period. The court dismissed his plea. Following this, Mahant Raghubir Das filed a plea in the Faizabad District Court seeking permission to build a canopy outside the disputed complex. This plea too was rejected. Much later, in 1949, in an independent India, the idol of Ram Lalla was found under the central dome outside the disputed structure. The then Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, gave orders for its removal. The then District Magistrate K.K. Nair refused to implement the order, stating that it could lead to tensions and bloodshed. He was suspended from service, but he continued to take the movement forward. Successive suits were filed to obtain the right to keep the idol and later for the possession of the site. On February 1, 1986, came a new dawn. The local court ordered the government to open the site for the Hindu worshippers. The legal battle reached the Allahabad High Court, which ordered to maintain the status quo. In the meanwhile, the Ram Janmabhoomi movement had been gaining momentum. The demand for the Ram temple had become a universal one, with voices coming from every part of the country. While the legal battle went on, there were other activities happening in support of the construction of the temple. In September 1990, senior leader L.K. Advani began his Rath Yatra from Somnath in Gujarat. This yatra, covering various regions of the country, was meant to culminate at Ayodhya. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was an integral part of this yatra. He was referred to as the Sarathi of the yatra. Narendra Modi played a strictly backstage role, planning the yatra, arranging the logistics, taking care of crowd mobilization, and other arrangements to ensure that the movement runs smoothly. He was also tasked to brief the national media about the route of the yatra. During his interaction, he had challenged the VP Singh government at the centre and Mulayam Singh government in UP on daring to stop L.K. Advani's cavalcade. The movement gained so much strength that the distressed opponents tried to halt its onward journey using police force. L.K. Advani was arrested midway in Bihar. A huge number of car sevaks had assembled at Ayodhya, but the event took an unfortunate turn, leading to mayhem and bloodshed when the Mulayam Singh government ordered to open firing on the car sevaks. The Kothari brothers and several others were killed. This further strengthened the resolve to build a majestic Ram temple and to not let their sacrifices go in vain. On 6th December 1992, the disputed structure was brought down. Ram Bhakts and billions of other people continued their fight for a grand temple for their beloved idol at his birthplace in their own ways. Lawyers like K. Parasaran showed the path legally. In 2010, the Allahabad High Court ruled the three-way division of the disputed area between the Sunni Waqf Board, the Nirmohi Akhara and Ram Lalla. The three parties moved to the Supreme Court, which stayed the High Court verdict on the Ayodhya land dispute. In the meantime, PM Modi took the opportunity to restore the ancient glory of the place and to showcase the story of Lord Ram to the world. The entire world witnessed how he facilitated South Korean First Lady's visit to Ayodhya. In May 2018, he flagged off Janakpur Ayodhya bus service, announcing Rs 100 crore for the development of Janakpur, the birthplace of Sita. In January 2019, after several rounds of proceedings and mediation, the Supreme Court finally set up a 5-judge constitution bench to hear the case. The central government, under the leadership of PM Modi, actively monitored the process throughout and sought permission of the apex court to return the excess land to its original owners, that is the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas. The 67.703-acre land, mainly belonging to Hindus, is vested with the centre as its custodian under the Acquisition of Certain Area in Ayodhya Act of 1993. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in an interview in January 2019, had stated that his government would be making all efforts in building of Ram Temple once the judicial process is over.
न्याय की प्रक्रिया को न्याय के तरीके से चलने दिया जाए, उसको राजनीति के तराजू से न तोला जाए और मामला न्यायपालिका में है उसको पूर्ण किया जाए। न्यायपालिका से आने के बाद सरकार की जिम्मेवारी जहां शुरू होती है, हम पूरी तरह प्रयास करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
Since coming to power in 2014, his government worked in a collaborative and constructive way to fast-track the entire case and ensure an early resolution. The efforts of the Modi government played a major role in facilitating the day-to-day hearing taking place in Supreme Court and the eventual historic judgment of 9th November 2019. The Supreme Court of India granted the entire 2.77 acres of disputed land in Ayodhya to the deity Ram Lalla. The court clearly asserted that the unanimous judgment was backed by evidence and not based on faith. The evidence included religious texts, travelogues, gazetteers, translations of inscriptions on pillars, photographs, artifacts, and the reports of archaeological excavation presented by the Archaeological Survey of India. Some of the things found during the excavations included 263 pieces of terracotta objects, Vishnu Hari Shila Falak, a tablet that spoke about the existence of a temple dedicated to the god who killed the 10-headed demon. The report also mentioned that the northern wall of the shrine contains a pranala, that is, a water chute, Makar Pranali. With the Supreme Court's verdict, dreams of billions were fulfilled. People remembered the sacrifices of those who were a part of the movement and saw the verdict as a tribute to them. As the holy town of Ayodhya gears up for a grand Bhumi Pujan ceremony on the 5th of August 2020, millions may miss the chance to be present at the site, but virtually all will join in full spirits to celebrate an early Diwali.
5th August 2020 will go in the annals of the Indian civilizational history as the day when the second exile of 492 long years of Prabhu Ram came to an end. It would be marked as the day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of a grand Ram Mandir at the birthplace of Prabhu Ram in Ayodhya.